York World's Fair opens for its second and final season under sunny skies and a better crowd than marked last year's opening. There are 168 pavilions for visitors to see, many of them enlarged and refurbished after a long winter's sleep. A visitor with the time and money has 646 acres to roam, and such a roam can't be completed in a day.
Good day to you, folks. Welcome to America's most progressive little town, Middleburg, USA. We're so up to date, there's even a suffragist movement on Main Street. Women are demanding the right to vote. And speaking about new ideas, I'd like to show you through our home. We Peabodys pride ourselves on having all the latest conveniences, like our new gas lamp that gives a light as brilliant as 50 candles. Guaranteed non-explosive, too, and that's progress. Let's see, it's Saturday night. Should be time for the children's bath.
The Saturday bath is for everyone. It's once a week and it's lots of fun. Ouch!
That's my wife, Sarah, and the children. Can't blame Billy for screaming. It's hard getting used to a bath every week. Here's why we can bathe so often nowadays. Our new coal-burning stove has the revolutionary side reservoir. Stores 5 gallons of hot water. Why, Susie and Johnny can hardly wait for their hot bath. We bought Grandpa a talking machine for his birthday. Imagine the old boy living to be 60. He's a little hard of hearing, though. Hey, Grandpa! You can see why the talking machine is called the greatest entertainer in the world. Even the Waldorf Astoria has one to entertain its guests at luncheon. Come on, Grandpa. Turn it off before all the neighbors come over again tonight. These are Mrs. Peabody's wash day wonders. Now she can do the wash in just 5 hours and still have time for recreation. You know, like canning and making soap. There's nothing like fresh air for drying clothes. That's the new air suction dust killer vacuum cleaner. Sucks up all the germs around the house. Seems like it was just yesterday we tramped through rain and snow to the well out back for water. Now it's right here in the kitchen. Amazing what modern science can do.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and hello, friends. I'll be riding along to point out some of the things you're going to see from your front row seat in Mr. Ford's automobiles. Thanks to some old-fashioned magic we call imagination, this Ford Motor Company car will be your time machine for your journey, carrying you far back in time to the dawn of life on land and transporting you far out into the future. But that's getting far ahead of our story. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. So if your imagination is ready, here we go. Cut it, I got a goddamn frog in there. And hello, friend. Pardon me. It's good.
HB 6047.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and hello, friends. I'll be riding along to point out some of the things you're going to see from your front row seat in Mr. Ford's automobiles. Thanks to some old-fashioned magic we call imagination, this Ford Motor Company car will be your time machine for your journey, carrying you far back in time to the dawn of life on land and transporting you far out into the future. But that's getting far ahead of our story. Far ahead. But that's getting far ahead of our story. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. So if your imagination is ready, here we go. You want to try a clean one? I don't know when you cut in there, fellas. I mean, when I stop...
We're still rolling. We were waiting for you to say cut.
Well, I meant if I turn it this way, I'd cut, yeah. But I mean, if I want to correct myself, you know? I don't know what the hell's going on here. Let's get it straight here. If I break...
HB 6048.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and hello, friends. I'll be riding along to point out some of the things you're going to see from your front row seat in Mr. Ford's automobiles. Thanks to I'm sorry. I'll start again. Thank you, Mr. Ford, and hello, friends. I'll be riding along to point out some of the things you're going to see from your front row seat in Mr. Ford's automobiles. Thanks to some old-fashioned magic we call them.
HP 6049.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and hello, friends. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. Oh, sorry. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. So if your imagination is ready, here we go. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. That damn crack in there. But that's getting far ahead of our story. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. So if your imagination is ready, here we go. I think that's better, huh? Yes, no?
Tape was better.
Huh?
The whole tape was better.
Okay. We'll go to the next one. Are you running?
Yes. Brother.
We're a little confused here, aren't we?
HP 6050.
We're traveling backwards in time, many millions of years, in fact, back to a day when giant creatures thundered over the land and soared like gliders across the sky. We're traveling backward. God damn it. Make a clean tape. You'll cut this all up once. I don't want anybody to hear me cussing on this thing. Backwards in time, many millions of years, in fact, back to a day when giant creatures thundered over the land and soared like gliders across the sky. You're probably familiar with some of their names. Allosaurus, Edaphosaurus, Pterodactyl. Not exactly the kind of pets you would keep around the house. In fact, most of them were supercalifragilistic. Oh, wait a minute. Let me start again. We're traveling backwards in time, many millions of years, in fact, back to a day when giant creatures thundered over the land and soared like gliders across the sky. You're probably familiar with some of their names. Allosaurus, Edaphosaurus, Pterodactyl. Not exactly the kind of pets you would keep around the house. In fact, most of them were supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And that's as big as they come. Let me hear that stuff up to there, huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention? For your personal safety, please remain seated at all times. Keep your hands and arms inside the car, and no smoking, please. Your car radio is preset for channel and volume and requires no further adjustment. And now your host, Henry Ford II.
Welcome aboard Ford Motor Company's Magic Skyway, an adventure created by the incomparable Walt Disney. A voyage through time and space from a dark and distant yesterday to a bright and promising tomorrow. I hope you will all have an entertaining trip. And now, here to tell you about your journey is Walt Disney.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and hello, friends. I'll be riding along to point out some of the things you're going to see from your front row seat in Mr. Ford's automobiles. Thanks to some old-fashioned magic we call imagination, this Ford Motor Company car will be your time machine for your journey, carrying you far back in time to the dawn of life on land and transporting you far out into the future. But that's getting far ahead of our story. Right now, we're leaving the world of today behind. So if your imagination is ready, here we go. We're traveling backwards in time, many millions of years, in fact, back to a day when giant creatures thundered over the land and soared like gliders across the sky. You're probably familiar with some of their names. Allosaurus, Edaphosaurus, Pterodactyl. Not exactly the kind of pets you would keep around the house. In fact, most of them were supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and that's as big as they come. Our ancestors never heard the sounds you're about to hear or saw the sights of the world you're about to visit. We're moving back long before man arrived on our planet.
Our story begins just ahead in the warm primeval seas that covered the earth millions of years ago. It was always summer here, even in Alaska. And a swamp like this attracted whole families of taurine dinosaurs, like those tall Brontosaurus. Father Brontosaurus over there weighed 60,000 pounds, and he ate his vegetables every day. In fact, that's all he ate. The Pteranodon flew with wings like a bat, but he was really a reptile, like all the other dinosaurs. Even those armor-plated Triceratops hatched bouncing baby reptiles. But armor was no protection from the king of all the dinosaurs. Even his name was frightening, Tyrannosaurus Rex. And now, as a changing Earth ends the rule of the reptiles, the magic Skyway takes you forward in time once more, toward the shadow of a new arrival, man. This was a strange new world, but man embarked on his adventure with a new power, the ability to think and reason. Before long, the caveman discovered how to harness nature's fire to cook his food and warm his home. The things he learned, like fire making and language, were passed from father to son and to a friend in need. His hunting and tool-making skills helped trap the woolly mammoth and gave his world its name, the Stone Age. Caveman recorded his adventures for posterity on the walls of his home, probably when his wife was out. Here's a fellow we would all like to meet, the inventor of the first wheel. As you can see, it was a trial and error process, square wheels, oblongs, and finally, the round wheel. The wheel gave man a new freedom. Now he could leave the caves behind and travel on to seek his fortune in the wide, wide world. Thousands of years raced by as man applied the wheel to explore the world. And then he discovered new ways to make the wheel work for him. There were water wheels for generating power and iron wheels to span the continent. Wheels within wheels for industry's machines. Wheels for the automobile and the airplane. And just as the first wheel freed man from his cave, today they have carried us to the beginning of still another new age. And now the Magic Skyway becomes a highway in the sky, carrying you across the boundless night and out into time and space. We've come a long way in our journey with man, and here we are on the threshold of tomorrow. Man's achievements in science and industry have carried us here. And like the blast-off of a space vehicle for the moon and beyond, man's achievements have challenged our hopes and rocketed our dreams beyond the horizons. Perhaps someday we'll be riding rocket ships like those flashing overhead to anywhere in space. Perhaps someday we will drive jet-powered vehicles over weather-controlled highways in the sky like the spiraling tubes around you. But all such dreams begin in the minds of men. Men of vision, faith, and imagination. Men of science and industry, education, and the arts. As we have seen along the Magic Skyway, man is always on the move, searching and dreaming beyond the horizons of today and bringing the promise of tomorrow ever closer to reality. Now our journey is almost at an end. On behalf of your host, Ford Motor Company, and the creative staff of the Walt Disney Studio who dreamed up this adventure, I hope you have enjoyed your trip on the Magic Skyway. Thanks for joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to enter the area where you will disembark. Please remain seated until the host opens the car door for you. Remember to take your personal belongings with you as you leave the car. Face forward and walk to the handrail on the moving platform. Thank you.
036, 1205. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln. HP 1503, take one.
Let us have faith that right makes might. And in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it.
And one more try, please. Up a little more, just a little more firmness. Not quite so quiet. Take 6.
Let us have faith that right makes might. And in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it. Let us have faith.
One last time, Royal, the whole section 5, so you get a momentum up. And give me a finale that is a little more conscious of being a finale. In other words, not projected, but a little firmer in this faith you're expressing. Maybe, please? Take 7.
Neither let us be slandered from our duty by false accusations against us, nor frightened from it by the menaces of destruction to the government, nor of dungeons to ourselves. Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it.
I like that, practically it, with one last thought. The There was a note of pleading in that last, seemingly, Royal, and make it more a positive statement of your belief. Maybe try it one last time, please.
Certainly, sir.
Take case.
Neither let us be slandered from our duty by false accusations against us, nor frightened from it by menaces to the government. Neither let us be slandered from our duty by false accusations against us, nor frightened from it by the menaces of destruction to the government, nor of dungeons to ourselves. Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it.
Perfect. Cut.
Welcome to the General Electric Carousel Theater. Now take 1, 2. Welcome to the General Electric Carousel Theater. Now, most carousels go round just all right. Take 3. Welcome to the General Electric Carousel Theater.
Good day to you, folks. Welcome to America's most progressive little town, Middleburg, USA. We're so up to date, there's even a suffragist movement on Main Street. Women are demanding the right to vote. And speaking about new ideas, I'd like to show you through our home. We Peabodys pride ourselves on having all the latest conveniences, like our new gas lamp that gives a light as brilliant as 50 candles. Guaranteed non-explosive, too, and that's progress. Let's see, it's Saturday night. Should be time for the children's bath.
The Saturday bath is for everyone. It's once a week and it's lots of fun. Ouch!
That's my wife, Sarah, and the children. Can't blame Billy for screaming. It's hard getting used to a bath every week. Here's why we can bathe so often nowadays. Our new coal-burning stove has the revolutionary side reservoir. Stores 5 gallons of hot water. Why, Susie and Johnny can hardly wait for their hot bath. We bought Grandpa a talking machine for his birthday. Imagine the old boy living to be 60. He's a little hard of hearing, though. Hey, Grandpa! You can see why the talking machine is called the greatest entertainer in the world. Even the Waldorf Astoria has one to entertain its guests at luncheon. Come on, Grandpa. Turn it off before all the neighbors come over again tonight. These are Mrs. Peabody's wash day wonders. Now she can do the wash in just 5 hours and still have time for recreation. You know, like canning and making soap. There's nothing like fresh air for drying clothes. That's the new air suction dust killer vacuum cleaner. Sucks up all the germs around the house. Seems like it was just yesterday we tramped through rain and snow to the well out back for water. Now it's right here in the kitchen. Amazing what modern science can do. Well, I think you've met everybody in the Peabody family.
Cape Kennedy, New York through to Hollywood, Florida.
We want Hollywood, California, not Florida, dearie.
Chicago, temperature 70, moderate breezes. Who do you want, New York?
Hollywood, California, if you don't mind.
Aloha, Hawaii here. Come in, New York.
Please connect me with Hollywood. It's on the mainland.
Loverville, Alaska, number please.
Get off the line. The same to you, dearie. Haverhead, Colorado. Hollywood? Where's that? Oh, never mind. Oh, no. I want Hollywood. Hollywood.
What do you think this is, sister? For real?
Operator, get me Disneyland then.
Disneyland? One moment. Welcome to Disneyland. Today's special for conventions includes 10 rides for only the price of 5. It's the biggest offer in the history of entertainment. Bring your whole family, even your relatives. Don't wait. Do it now. You'll have the time of your life. It's fabulous.
Operator, we haven't got time.
Walt Disney Studios.
Please connect us with Walt.
Walt? Walt who?
Walt Disney.
Oh, here's the main gate. The officer will direct you.
At last.
Hi. Welcome to Disney Studios. We've been expecting you. Walt said to tell you he'd meet you on stage 4. Now, this is a big movie lot, but you can't get lost. Just turn left on Nicky Avenue, go past the flagpole, then turn right on Dopey Drive. Continue past the theater to the next corner and make another left-hand turn. From there on, it gets a bit tricky, but you keep right on going till you get to stage 4. You can't miss it. Hope you enjoy your visit.
If you're looking for stage 4, you're a bit off your course. It's down that way. Whoops, excuse me.
To find any traffic way back here. Oh, you must be the folks who are looking for Walt, huh? Well, you won't find him anywhere around here. This is the Western set. Officer Riley probably sent you this way, huh? That figures. You know, they don't use this set here just for Westerns. They make all sorts of different... One time we made an Eastern. It was way back in the Revolutionary days. I told this one fella, he comes up here driving a herd of horses, right straight through that street, turns over on the other street, and like to knock 12 people down, weren't looking where they were going. Once they changed this whole set into a small-town, old-fashioned main street. Painted all the buildings, that's my work, and changed the names on the stores, and put new costumes, different costumes on the actors, you know, and we had a real circus parade coming right down this street. Hey, you folks better get moving. Now, I'll tell you how you get there. You go back there, and you turn right. No. You better back up. And turn... No, that won't do you any good either. You go down to the Wells Fargo building, and you turn north, and you go as far... No. Well, to tell you the truth, to get to where you want to go, this is an awful bad place to start from. Tell you what you do. You go down here to the old Spanish set, and you cut across that. That's where we shot Zorro. Or, I'm mixed up here. That's where they shot the Zorro series. And you can see soundstage number 4 right from there, and you can't miss it. Now, you run along so you won't be late. Have a real nice time, and I hope to see you there. I hope you make it.
Oh, hello there. You must be the people looking for Mr. Disney. You want to follow me?
About ready. Say, Walt. Hey, fellas. Can we clear the set here? Cecil, #1 position on this. Okay.
Mr. Disney, there's...
How about #1 on this, too, Cecil? #1. Fellas, will you clear the set? We want to have a little dry run. Girls, can you let that go for a while? We just want a little dry run on this thing. Okay, Wendell, you ready? All right, let's take it away. Let's go. Come on.
It's nice to have you drop in on us. Hear that, Robin? It's spring. What year? Oh, somewhere between 1880 and 1900. And believe me, things couldn't be better than they are today. Yes, sir, we take a lot of pride in our home. Got all the latest things like lightning rods on the house, telephone, gas lamps, and the newest design in cast iron stoves. That reservoir keeps 5 gallons of water hot all day on just 3 buckets of coal. Sure beats chopping wood.
Okay, that's enough. Now, are you telling me something?
Well, yes, you might say I am. There's 2 things, Walt. First, Mrs. Disney called. She wants to know, since you didn't make it home for Christmas, do you think you can for Easter?
I doubt it, but tell her I'll see you at the fair.
All right, sir. Now, yes, and there is one more thing. They're here.
Who's here?
They are.
Oh, well, hi. I know you want me to give a progress report on GE's Progress Land. This is the stage for Act 1 of the Carousel Theater Progress. Stages for the other acts are being assembled at other places in the studio for a complete audio-animatronic dress rehearsal. Now, this contraption here might look like something from outer space, but it's actually a control harness for programming the actions and gestures of our audio-animatronic figures. Shall we show them how it works?
Ready, Walt.
This is the Carousel Theater host. Whatever the man in the harness does, this figure will respond simultaneously in the same manner. Would you care for your life? I don't think we better. No smoking on the stage. He can, read the newspaper. How about showing him how you read the newspaper? What's the date of that thing? 1890. The operator of the control harness has to be a bit of a ham actor, as you can see. Now, you know, all of the operator's actions are recorded on tape, and separate tapes are made for each of our figures. And it takes lots of rehearsal and refinement to get the gestures to be lifelike. Adding dialogue is a separate operation. For this, the operator synchronizes his lip movements with a pre-recorded dialogue track. In this way, we make the figures talk. This electronically controlled method of programming can give us a wide range of movements. A broad gesture, to the wink of an eye. That's it. Thank you. Now, for a better understanding of the Carousel Theater, let's go over to the little model. The Carousel Theater is circular in form and is divided into 6 equal segments. This is the loading stage area. As the audience take their seats, the 60-foot wide kaleidophonic screen is activated electronically, and with thousands of good old GE bulbs pulsating to the overture, you actually see music as you hear it. Then the audience moves to stage 1. In Act 1, our audience will first meet our audio-animatronic family. The time is just before the turn of the century, before electricity was used in homes. The Carousel Theater will tell a story of progress. Our host, who is also the father, tells about life in those nostalgic days. Of course, we hear from other members of the family, too. From the 1900s, our audience moves into Act 2 and the 1920s, during the early days of electricity. Mother has her first electric iron and many more early electric appliances. All GE products, of course. Next, our audience comes into the fabulous 40s, the beginning of the electronic era. Electrical appliances are bigger and better than ever. From the 1940s, our audience moves into the wonderful world of today. Our family now has an all-electric GE Medallion home. Mother has much more time for relaxing. So you see, progress in the home life of the Carousel family has spanned 3/4 of a century. Now let's cut to our machine shop and see how these audio animatronic figures were developed and assembled. Highly skilled mechanics and technicians developed, assembled, and tested the action of these figures. It was a project which required the use of specially developed materials and a high degree of precision. This is the figure of our teenage daughter, without benefit of final painting, makeup, and costuming. Using our knowledge of animation of the human figure, the parts were designed and assembled to produce lifelike results. Many authentic props were used, such as this primitive hand-operated vacuum cleaner and this antique washing machine. They were rehabilitated to operate and look like new. Controlling devices within the flexible plastic skins were bench tested many thousands of times for fatigue of material and paint. Each audio animatronic figure required individual attention, from the planning of their actions needed to tell our story through this department for engineering and manufacturing. From here, the figures went to our makeup and wardrobe departments. These machines are what make the audio animatronic figures move and talk. The actions, including facial expressions from the lifting of an eyebrow to a smile and the dialogue, are programmed on tape. Ready for a demonstration, Herb? Now, when this first machine finishes with its phase, as it is going to do pretty soon, it'll trigger this other machine, which programs the next phase of the show. Now, while this is happening, the first machine will rewind itself to its starting point. Yet during this interchange, we don't lose so much as the wink of an eye. Well, it should happen here pretty soon. See? There we go. Now this one rewinding itself. The program is going on. Now, from the beginning of the opening overture through the complete cycle of the Carousel Theater, and then starting another complete cycle, these machines keep the show going on and on and on. They never take time out for a coffee break. In fact, you can push the button on April 22nd, and precise, uninterrupted program will run continuously for month after month, day and night, until you push the off button in October. They never miss a cue. Now, the Carousel Theater is only the beginning of the show. From there, the audience goes up to the third level for the Sky Dome Spectacular. You might be interested to see some of the work being done on the Sky Dome show. Thanks, Herb. Our artists are painting some of the many effects which will be projected into the full-size dome. Clouds, twilight skies will appear, and shooting stars will flash across the sky. The Sky Dome Spectacular dramatizes man's efforts to harness the energy produced by the sun. From this viewing terrace here, the audience will experience a dramatic electrical storm, a solar explosion, and see the sun as a hot ball of fire. As the scientist narrator tells how atomic power plants will generate vast quantities of electrical energy, the scenes the artists are painting will show a fertile, blooming desert and a city of the future. At the finish of the Sky Dome Spectacular, the people will be directed down this ramp to the center well of the pavilion. There they will witness an actual nuclear fusion demonstration by the use of actual equipment. Following this, the visitors will continue to the first level for the fun and excitement of GE's all-electric Medallion City. I'm sorry I can't be there in person to tell you more. Anyway, I'll see you all at the fair.
And before our wide eyes saw tomorrow arise, fancied or real, a ballad in steel, splendid and strong, building a song of a world that is yet to come. Hammered and milled, welded and drilled, rivets and nails, timber and rails, a ballad to skill, to peace and goodwill of a world that is on the way. High in the air over the fair, watching the show. Down there below in splendor arrayed, the world's on parade, seen from a holiday height. From lands far away they walk on display, east and the west, the world at its best, each tempted to stare at his friends of the fair, trying to understand the exotic, the new, strolling in view, learning to understand. Peace through understanding, that's the motto of our fair, easily translated to any language, anywhere. A faraway land seen close at hand, the foreign, the strange in peaceful exchange, a colorful feast of sights from the east, from lands far beyond the sea. From lands where the rain beats a ceaseless refrain, where the sun at midday bakes the mud into clay. Lands as ancient as man, where story began, and lands with a tale just begun. Traveling on to the lands of the dawn, where freedom is hailed to the beat of a festival drum.
안녕하십니까 여러분들. 여기는 뉴욕 박람회 한국관입니다. 우리는 두 빌딩 안에
Samoa o Talofa.
Pakistan Pavilion থেকে বলছি.
Καλώς ήρθατε στο ελληνικό περίπτερο.
日本館に属しておりますお茶室では日本に古くから伝わるお茶の作法をご披露しております。
Bienvenido al pabellón de España. Tenemos.
Välkommen till den svenska paviljongen på världsutställningen.
As the blades whirl around in a windmill of sound, casting shadows upon the tools of the future below, then a slow blazing climb of the traveler in time, and a portrait of space in the moon's cratered face. Then a rise in a daze through a steel-girdered maze towards a symbol of plenty for all.
beautiful Bell System Pavilion, where you'll see the story of communications as you ride in a comfortable...
Looking for dreams someday we may own, walking to wonders, the strange, the unknown, waiting on lines till the moment is ours, when we'll taste of the future, rejoice in its powers.
The patterns you see on these television screens are pictures of sounds. This machine is called a vocoder. It is used for analyzing a speaker's voice while he is talking.
I have now adjusted the vocoder.
Electronic switching is almost like magic. It will bring you telephone services never before thought possible.
Someday, people may want to see as well as talk over the telephone. What we are doing here is trying out one model of a picture phone, a new dimension in telephoning.
In a place where electronic wonders abound, a marriage of sight to the drama of sound, a wonderful coupling of vision and speech, then a ride to the future and the past within reach.
And now all are welcome on the Bell System ride.
You know, this ride you're taking never ends. At least the story it tells never ends. It's the story of man against time and distance. The never-ending human adventure of man's need to communicate. The story is a search for secrets buried deep in nature long before time. Secrets magical enough to make mountains, deserts, oceans vanish. But only a moment ago, as nature tells time, in the ancient wilderness, the sound of man was only man's size. Because you must, you invent a language that talks louder than your loudest shout. Words carved with a chisel. You have shrunk the world. You achieve the marvel of the written word. Words to be sent only as far and as fast as 2 feet can carry them. But handmade words take too long. So you make words by machine, pressed into paper, printed into books, knowledge you can send anywhere, everywhere. And still another language, the language of plus and minus and equals. Numbers, mathematics, which can take the measure of the world. But you learn to read the language of nature's laws. You invent science, gravity, magnetism, light. And you teach electricity to speak. Speak Alexander Graham Bell's 7 simple words.
Mr. Watson, come here. I want you.
From these 7 words have grown the telephone nerve system of our nation. A living network which mirrors the ingenuity and enterprise of free men in a free society. Yes, you have the world at your fingertips, but you can't help reaching for tomorrow, up to Telstar and beyond.
And this is only part of what you'll see at the Bell System ride. monster of all times, Tyrannosaurus, the tyrant lizard. With his great jaws and teeth, he attacked every living creature in sight.
And before our wide eyes saw tomorrow arise, fancied or real, a ballad in steel, splendid and strong, building a song of a world that is on the way. As the day and its light turns into night, lights fading on are the heralds of dawn, of a dawn dreamed of still, with peace and goodwill, of a world that is on the way.
Moores and Company. The Fontana Moores Company welcomes you today. The Fontana Moores Company simply wants to say there's a wonderful world of chemistry. Anywhere you wander, thousands of sights, all pure delight, stretching from here clear to yonder. The Fontana Moores Company acting as your host. The Fontana Moores Company wishes you the most entrancing hour that there could be, where imagination is fancy-free in the wonderful world of chemistry. Beginning now, beginning at the beginning now.
When the world was new and the fire had subsided, when the waters had receded and the earth was green, man appeared. We don't know how long it was before he realized that it was better to be warm than cold and better to be dry than wet. But because he wanted something to fill a need, he thought about it, he experimented, and finally he found the answer. On the day that the first man came in out of the rain, research was born. Oh, thanks a lot. And now chemistry took somewhat longer to arrive. The ancient Greeks liked to sit around and think what everything was made of. Some said everything was water. Some said air. Others fire. And still others earth. The Greeks thought a lot, but they never experimented. Then in the Middle Ages, alchemists began trying to turn lead into gold. Oh, they tried every formula they could think of to do it.
Take 2 frogs. And 1 ear.
Unfortunately, nothing seemed to work. No matter what they tried, it never came out gold. Oh. Well, is it gold?
Peanut brittle. Take 3 frogs.
Yes, well, the alchemists experimented, all right, but they never seemed to think. Then in the 18th century, Antoine Lavoisier discovered the formula for water, named the elements, and turned chaos into science, as he both thought and experimented. But in the middle of his work, Lavoisier was caught up in the terror of the French Revolution, and in 1794, he was put to death. But Lavoisier left an apprentice, a young man named E.I. DuPont. Leaving France, he came to Delaware and established a small powder mill on the banks of the Brandywine. Well, today the company that he began is still serving America, dedicated to bringing all of us better things for better living through chemistry. Now, what has chemical research brought us? Well, some of you may recall when nylon stockings first came on the market. Hello there, Mrs. Weston. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember.
You know, they were introduced at the 1939 New York World's Fair, 26 years ago.
Of course, I was just a child.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, today there's nylon and everything from fabrics to rifles.
Rifles? Nylon rifles?
Certainly. The entire stock of this handsome rifle is made of nylon. How about that, huh?
And to think we first saw it right here that many years ago.
That's right.
Happy birthday, Nylon.
Oh, Mrs. Weston, it's beautiful. Would you blow out the candles? Oh, I'll get it.
But what did DuPont make before nylon? I can't seem to recall.
Well, lots of things. Take industrial explosives, which helped in clearing the frontier, creating America's railroads and highways, even in carving Mount Rushmore. You know, chemistry has always done things with a bang.
Take 4 frogs.
If at first you don't succeed.
Did you know that cars once came in only 3 colors? You had to take black, blue, green, or else. But research gave cars more colors than the rainbow, right on up to lucite lacquer. And research took the knock out of those automobile engines, too. Why, I can even make a car that's a dog look beautiful. Because research produced those famous number 7 specialties. Now, who did all this research? Oh, no, not him. No. 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 Oh, come on. DuPont. Without DuPont research, your car leaves something to be desired, right? Mrs. Weston, do you remember what the world was like before cellophane?
Haven't we always had cellophane?
No, not always. Now, close your eyes and visualize an unsanitary grocery store in 1915.
Good morning, Mr. Goodfellow.
Good morning, Mrs. Avery. What'll it be this morning, ma'am?
I think I'll begin with some spinach, please.
Spinach.
And some cheese.
Cheese? About a quarter of a pound?
Why not? And some of your delicious ginger snaps.
Got 'em right here. Oh, come on, Tiger. Love those snaps. Proves they're good.
They do have an unusual flavor. Now, how about some sauerkraut?
Sauerkraut. Sauerkraut. Oh, how'd that get in there?
And one beautiful chicken.
One chicken. There it is.
Lovely. That's all. How much, please?
Well, that'll be 80 cents even.
Well, have Johnny drop them by, will you?
Oh, sure thing, Miss Avery. Bye.
Goodbye, Mr. Goodfellow. Honestly, at these prices, oh, if somebody would only invent moisture-proof cellophane and make possible something called a supermarket, things would certainly be different. They've got to be.
And now the time is 1965.
Spinach.
Spinach,
Cheese.
cheese,
Ginger snaps.
ginger snaps,
Sauerkraut.
sauerkraut,
And chicken.
chicken. There you are, Mrs. Avery.
What was that?
Yes, there they are. Very same foods, only this time about $8. Some of them wrapped in moisture-proof cellophane, some in other films, but all of them products of chemical research.
Have Johnny drop it by, will you?
Sure thing. So long.
He gave me that cat last week.
Now let's discuss. Uh-oh, Mrs. Weston, I'm sorry. I forgot about you over there. You can open your eyes now. Yeah, I said I was sorry. That's better.
Hey,
Yes.
now what are we going to do?
Well, let's discuss one of the simplest things in the world.
My husband.
Mrs. Weston, no. Molecules.
Oh, yes, I was just going to say, why don't we discuss that? And I'm going to sit down while we do.
All right, we'll see you later. Everything in the world, you know, is made up of molecules, and some of the most useful are those that form versatile plastics, like Alathon, Delrin, Lucite, Teflon. Here's what we mean. Oh, my. Molecules.
There are plastics in your toaster, in the blender and the clock, in the lamp and in the roaster, on the door and in the lock, in the washer and the dryer, and the garden tools you lend, in your music amplifier and electric fryer. You have got a plastic friend.
We can coat a waffle griddle so the waffle never sticks. Be the strings upon your fiddle, even be your fiddlesticks. Be the bristle on your toothbrush and the teeth upon your comb. In a bottle made for squeezing or a tray for freezing, with the plastic you're at home. In your engine and your chassis and the body of your car, from your Potter and your Brassy to your shower, there we are. In your phone and in your freezer, in your television too. Cables, meters, and connections, these are just selections. Batteries and zippers, these are just a few. Cameras and skylights, these are merely highlights. In the world of plastics, all of us were made for one we wouldn't trade for. All of us were made for you.
Oh, what do you put in a mixture to make molecules like those? Got any ideas, Professor?
5 wrong.
Have you got rocks in your head? I thought so. But plastics aren't the only things that chemical research has created. For example, there's Valclean, to fill the need for machine dry cleaning. Easy to do. Clothes have brighter colors, too, with Valclean's gentle care. T-Rex, to fill the need for an antifreeze that can't be beat. If your garage does not have heat, time for Zerex there. Cepel, to fill the need for a fabric.
Reading this one.
Well, Mrs. Weston, all right, now be careful.
Z-Pel.
Good.
To fill the need for a fabric finish to repel those stains that seem to come pell-mell. It would clean without a trace if you got a pie right in the face.
Oh, Mrs. Winston.
Yes? Coconut cream.
Good, good. Savolux, to fill the need for dyes that last and know are fast in colors that are unsurpassed. Savolux has flair. Hypalon, to fill the need for handsome floors, so hard to stain. For soles and heels that'll wear, it's plain that Hypalon, whoops, don't step on the cigarette. Ooh, that smarts. Freon. To fill
One moment, please.
Uh-oh, you're back again. All cleaned up, I see.
Yes.
Well?
We want to play our Freon Serenade. Come on, girls.
But Mrs. Weston and girls, Freon is a propellant that makes aerosol cans work, like hairspray. Oh, you know.
Of course we know.
Well, all right.
And we put whistles on.
Oh.
Listen.
Whistle.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you and goodbye. All these products are from DuPont, 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 DuPont. Where there's a want, or there's a... Oh, go ahead, yes. You know, I was supposed to do that.
That was fun.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it again.
Yes.
All these products are from DuPont.
Mrs. Weston, Mrs. Weston. Now you've had your turn. Oh, it's time now to see something beautiful.
Oh, what's that?
Fashion.
Oh.
Did he say fashion? Fashion.
We wouldn't miss it, not for a minute. Come on, girls.
Alice, the other way? What are we going to do with her?
With Antron and nylon and
Lycra and Orlon and Dacron, the world's a better place. You know we all have a smile on that started with nylon and stretches across each happy face. We'll sing it and shout it without a doubt about it. For better living there's a modern way. With Antron and nylon and Lycra and Orlon and Dacron, let's live each day.
5 great designers and 5 great fibers. In Oleg Cassidy's collection for spring, Dionne Williams wears a suit dress of 100% Dacron. Shirley DeBerg's jacket is a Dacron blend over a swimsuit of Antron. Hey, fella, there's Sheila Sullivan wearing a suit of Orlon, a blouse of Dacron. His blazer, slacks, and shirt, all by John White, all with Dacron. For summer, John White's presents a dress entirely in Dacron. Seal Chapman designs include 100% Dacron too. Her suit is Dacron, her blouse nylon. David Carter wears a suit containing both Dacron and Lycra. Prize-winning Blair of Donald Brooks. Under a coat with nylon, a dress with Orlon. Both her blouse and her costume, nylon. His blazer, slacks, tie, and socks of Orlon, shirt with Dacron. For winter, the master hand of David Kidd of Arthur Jablow. On the left, a coat of nylon over a dress of orlan. On the right, a jacket dress with androth. Her skating outfit with nylon. And for him, John Whites creates a ski jacket in orlan over trousers with nylon. For glamorous evenings, a collection of gowns from all 5 of our noted designers. From David Kidd of Arthur Jablow, ruby nylon velvet. From Oleg Cassini, diamond nylon brocade. From Cecil Chapman, emerald nylon velvet. From John Whites, a tourmaline crepe of Dacron. And from Donald Brooks, Peridot nylon brocade.
Well, the story of chemistry has no end. In this wonderful world today, we stand on the edge of discoveries marvelous and hard to imagine. 300 years ago, when Sir Isaac Newton lay dying, very old and very famous, he said something to be remembered forever. These were his words. I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy, playing on the seashore, diverting myself now and then, finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, while the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before us. For that great uncharted sea still lies before us, even though we have created wonders that Newton could not have dreamed of. Today, for example, through X-ray motion pictures, we can look into the innermost secrets of life itself. And if we want to observe the flight of a hummingbird, such as this one, we can take pictures so quickly that this entire sequence actually lasted only 1/5 of 1 second when photographed. Now, our speed is 2,500 pictures per second, but today we have a film that enables us to take 10 million pictures every second. How can we answer now when asked, what will tomorrow bring? Oh, Professor, well, one thing tomorrow will bring is lots of Corfam for shoes, the newest and one of the greatest results of chemical research. In a nutshell, we're going to have shoes like we've never had shoes before. Right? Right.
What's that everyone's saying? What's that everyone knows? What's that music they're playing? Where's that everyone goes? Down each street the neatest feet are wearing Corfam shoes. Small or tall, the smartest all have learned the latest news. See that vision of fashion, note that flattering flair. Get that powerful passion, come along, you'll walk on air. What's that beautiful pleasure no one wants to lose? It's that pleasure you treasure when you wear Corfam shoes.
You can do as you please and yet wear them with ease, for they have the happy knack of breathing. Every pair is so rare with their minimum care and a shape that they will all retain. Though you know that the rest will be looking depressed and as fretful as a baby teething. In the beauty of Slade, you're no longer afraid, even in the middle of a rain. For the rain is now champagne. Note that flattering flare, get that powerful passion, come along, you'll walk on air. What's that beautiful pleasure no one wants to lose? It's that pleasure you treasure, bigger than anybody could measure, when you wear more than shoes.
Thank you, thank you. Well, for the next 12 minutes through these doors in the Red Room, we'd like to show you some molecular marvels even more amazing than the Hindu rope trick. You know, that's a nylon rope. Before we go, I'd like to say that this has been a Six Frog production. Oh, my. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark McCrary. On behalf of our company, Brent Hickman, Ted Sprague, Pat Stevens, and Joyce Murray, we'd like to thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Better things for better living through chemistry for the finer world we want. Better things for better living through chemistry, that's the promise of DuPont. Every day that we are living is such a thrill that we can't stay nonchalant. Better things for better living are coming still, that's the promise of DuPont.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful world of chemistry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dick Krischer. On my right is David Doucette, and on my left, Hal Holden. And the gentleman in the quiet coveralls is Stan Warno, who prepares the chemicals and makes this whole thing possible. All set, Stan? Thank you. For the next few minutes, we'd like to show you some of the magical things that chemistry has learned to do with molecules. Now, everything you will see will involve things that never existed before the chemist created them for us in the laboratory. Safety glasses, please, gentlemen. Now, to fill the need for a cooling substance for use in home refrigerators and air conditioners, chemistry created something known as Freon. In its liquid form, which we have here, it exists at a temperature of 100 degrees below zero. Now, to show you how cold that is, this carnation, David, would you ripple the petals for us? When dipped into Freon, is instantly frozen solid. Now, if anybody doesn't behave, we'll dip them into the Freon. Into this extreme cold, we'll now place another man-made product. Now, here you see a ball of Adaprene and a ball of ordinary rubber. We'll put both kinds into the Freon and see what happens to them. But while they're freezing, let's have a look at some molecules that are quite emotional. They're like us. When calm, they are clear. But when agitated, they turn blue. Now, it takes them a little longer to calm down than it did to become worked up. But if you watch, you'll see that when things are quiet and they are once more at rest, everything clears up again just as it does with us. Now, let's get back to our Adaprene and David, let's not annoy the molecules. Let's get back to our Adaprene and natural rubber at 100 degrees below zero. We're going to drop a heavy weight on each kind and see what happens to them. First, the Adaprene. Frozen solid. Adaprene remains efficient, just as it does on rocket ships and in the Arctic. But what ordinary rubber at the same temperature. It may never bounce again. You know, most important scientific discoveries occur in tiny test tubes rather than in giant complexes like our special glassware by Corning. And one of those discoveries was the creation of nylon, which, as someone once said, changed the lives of all of us and the legs of half of us. And we're going to make nylon for you right now in this glass. Now, one of these liquids contains one kind of molecule and the other another. Now, if we pour carefully, where the two meet, a new kind of molecule will be formed, which is nylon. And there it is. It took 7 years of research to give us nylon, but this method produces it in less than a second. Now, simple though it may appear, nylon is one of the most revolutionary inventions ever created. Thank you very much, David. Now, one of DuPont's newest creations is... David, that's enough. He keeps thinking he's going to pull a leg out of that glass one of these days. Now, one of DuPont's newest creations is Lycra. It has a memory, and when stretched, snaps back to its original form. There's no rubber in Lycra, it's all fiber. Lycra is used in comfortable stretch fabrics, some of which can snap us back to our original forms too, if you know what I mean, ladies. And this, on the other hand, is Dacron, whose molecules change and stay changed when stretched. Stretching makes Dacron permanently fluffy, and it's used in things like pillows and comforters. Guess who? Now, in addition to fibers, DuPont also creates dyes to color them. Now, here we have an all-white cloth. We're going to place it into a special dye bath for a moment, and I think you might be a little bit surprised by the result. We're leaving one corner of the cloth white so you'll be sure it's the same cloth when it comes out again. And now we're rinsing it in some clear water, and then a final rinse in more clear water. We'll wring it out and see what we have. There. Our vat contains 4 different dyes, and our cloth is woven of 4 different fibers. Each fiber accepts only one of the dyes mixed together in the solution. Now, we began our demonstrations at a temperature of 100 degrees below zero. But now, let's examine our mastery of something very, very hot. In our furnace, we have placed a piece of TD nickel, which we have heated to the temperature of 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. This new alloy will be used in jet engines hotter than even 2,000 degrees. But I'm going to hold it now in my bare hand, protected only by a thin sheet of Typersul, a most unusual insulating material, only 1/8 of an inch thick. Typersul is just one more example of man-made molecules that nature didn't get around to. Now watch what this heat does to an ordinary piece of wood. Barbecue, anyone? Typersul is used in everything from ovens in the home to rocket ships in outer space. And speaking of outer space, above the doors on both sides of our stage are models of the Echo satellites now circling the Earth, each in reality taller than a 12-story building. Now, both our models and the satellites are made of DuPont's extremely thin but extremely strong Mylar. Echo 1 and 2 have traveled a distance of over 1 billion miles, bombarded constantly by space dust and meteorites. And yet their Mylar covering is actually thinner than the cellophane on a pack of cigarettes. How's our... And now, we're going to get ourselves into a glorious mess. David, you all set up? Good. How did you... Oh, we'll wait. Incidentally, part of each cloth has been treated with a stain-resistant, water-repellent molecule called Z-Pel, and part has not. Now see if you can tell which is which with some simulated stains. We're going to begin with some coffee, a little bit of orange juice, some ink, some gravy, and then we'll wash it all down with some water and see what we have. And there you are. Pretty messy, huh? It's what? You really know how to hurt a guy, don't you, Hal? Now, come on. For stainless style, the Z-Pel molecule resists them all, and it's in the fiber to stay. We'd like to show you now some molecules that have been trained to change color on command. Now, we're going to begin with a very dark blue, and we can take that color completely out. That's better. And then we can change it to something else, and change it again. Or we can even go right back where we started, dark blue. Very nice. Flawlessly done. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And even more surprising are molecules that have been taught to tell time. We're going to mix together two clear liquids. And a few seconds later, you're going to see something so startling you can almost hear it happen. Now, don't take your attention away, not for a single instant. First, on my right. And don't even blink on this one, or it'll pass right by. And now, on my left. One more goop, and you're going in the Freon, you know. Okay. Okay. Now this is a tube of Baymau, and it's unusual because when at rest, as it is now, it is a solid, as you can see. But when in motion, the Baymau becomes a liquid. Now let me shake it, and perhaps you can hear it. There you can actually see it moving back and forth in the tube as a liquid. But when the Baymau is once again at rest, it goes right back to its solid state again. And this principle is used in lucite paint. David, would you please dip your brush? Now you'll notice that the paint doesn't drip because, like the Baymau in the tube, it's in its solid state. But when one paints with lucite paint, the motion of the brush turns it into an easy flowing liquid. Now this is a piece of lucite plastic bent into a pretzel shape. And it has the unusual ability to conduct light. I'm going to take this small flashlight and direct a beam of light right here. And you'll notice the light travels all the way through the rod and comes out the other end again. Now there you can see the light passing through the lucite rod, and there it is coming out at the other end. Now embedded into the walls all around us are the ends of nearly 200,000 small lucite rods like this. We're going to conduct light through them right now to show you three separate effects. First, contrails. Second, a firefall. First in multicolor, then all green, and finally all blue. And third, some famous DuPont trade names. See how many you can recognize. And now, we'd like to show you something on which research is still being done. Now, everything you have seen so far represents products already created by the chemist to bring us better things for better living. But research never stops. And now science is investigating the phenomenon of chemoluminescence in a search for a way to produce light without heat. Incidentally, this is something that fireflies have known how to do for thousands of years. And now at last we can do it too. Here we have two liquids. When mixed together, their molecules become so excited that they glow. Ladies and gentlemen, chemoluminescence. Ladies and gentlemen, in the hope that your lives may stay as bright and as colorful as chemiluminescence, all of us want to thank you for having spent part of your World's Fair time with E.I. DuPont de Nemours and Company. Thank you very, very much.
Did you know the 1964 World's Fair is actually the birthplace of the People Mover? Find out how Ford Mustangs riding through dinosaur scenes make for a slow-moving Disneyland attraction that was ultimately to be used in the city of tomorrow. The Extinct Attraction Club is proud to present The People Mover.
You are now beginning a grand circle tour of Tomorrowland aboard the People Mover, the first system of its kind in the world. Since its 1967 opening, the People Mover has carried more than 50 million guests. Your tour of Tomorrowland will cover 3/4 of a mile and will give you a close-up look at many shows and attractions, as well as previews of many others.
The Rocket Rods. This high-speed adventure would take guests over the old People Mover track on a twisting and turning journey through this new, improved Tomorrowland.
The New York World's Fair opens for its second and final season under sunny skies and a better crowd than marked last year's opening. There are 168 pavilions for visitors to see.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow. Climb aboard. You are about to take a journey out of this world into the world of the future. Technology has finally led the way into the wild profusion of the jungle world. One day, this land will be transformed into land for farms and pastures for cattle. From the abundance of equatorial jungles to the barrenness of great mountain ranges, the future offers great promise.
Your own private convertible takes you on the Magic Skyway. Walt Disney?
The Magic Skyway takes you back through the time barrier, backwards millions of years, to the dawn of life on land. This is the world that was. A world that trembles under the tread of giant beasts. Here, millions of years unfold at a single glance.
From 1982 to 1996, this pavilion quenched the thirst of guests thirsty for knowledge about the history of transportation and General Motors' desire to get customers into their cars. Go back with us and see the amazing Bird and Robot Show, the Concept 2000 cars, and learn about the history of the world of motion and Test Track. We are sure you'll agree, it's fun to be free.
Hi, my name is Jeff Burke, and I'm here for the Extinct Attractions Club. And we'd like to talk a little bit about the new America Sings DVD. There were beaks out of fiberglass or Epinol, which is also hot melt.
Walt was ashamed at the spectacle of what was just beyond his berm.
If we could have bought more land, we'd have bought it. Then we'd have had a control, and it wouldn't look too much like a second-rate Las Vegas around here. We'd have had a little better chance to control it. But we ran out of money, and then by the time that we did have a little money, everybody got wise to what was going on. We couldn't buy anything around the place at all, you know.
Walt Disney World and its 42 square miles of magic opened in 1971, but despite its spectacle, it was still missing one thing: an attraction for people who wanted to taste the adventure of air travel. An attraction for those who chose to wonder how it would be if they had wings. Join the Extinct Attractions Club for a look back at one of the Magic Kingdom's most forgotten about attractions of all times. If You Had Wings.
If you had wings, you could do many things. You could widen your world if you had wings.
What has 1964 World's Fair dinosaurs, major oil company sponsorship, and gigantic solar-powered theater cars? It's the universe of energy. Feel the glow, feel the power, as the Extinct Attraction Club takes you on an exploration of the original universe of energy attraction at Epcot Center. Ellen DeGeneres? Find out how she fits in too. Join us next time when the Extinct Attraction Club takes you on a journey into imagination. Figment, the Professor, and the wacky world of imagination are at your disposal. Go beyond the attraction and find out how a 3D film caused Figment's demise, and how a grassroots internet group brought him back from extinction. Join us for a look back at the Journey into Imagination Pavilion, Magic Journeys, Captain EO, and more surprises.